Hey everyone, I'm Ryan B and welcome to this week's practical Forex trading weekly analysis. This is the pound yen. Make sure you check out the other videos too for the different currency pairs. And what we're going to do for this strategy is we're going to use weekly pivot points on the daily chart to make our different entry points and think about where we want to put our stops and losses. So now we're in the pound yen chart. Let's go ahead and set the chart live. Look at the daily. I had a pretty big day Friday, along with all the other currencies. But what we see is that price pound yen is currently sitting right under this support level. But super strong candle, really pushed. You see a huge tail on that candle, but it did not close above that line. It's kind of like a rough area. We see price historically kind of stalls out here at this 145.80, but really we're looking at kind of like a zone, and what we see is price is still kind of in this zone, so we might see some more action. And this uptrend is pretty steep. So if we zoom out a little bit, let's look at the trend going all the way back to January of 2018. So you see these peaks, this big trend, and we see that pound yen really kind of shot through that, suggesting a more long-term trend reversal and kind of heading back for this 156 area. So that was close to a 2-year downtrend there. Now if we look at the channel, see that this kind of broadening price action channel over that time period. So that being said, I'm thinking that price is probably going to bounce around here, maybe jerk back a little bit to the 144, but then it looks like it could continue up. So if I look at this uptrend in the 4-hour, let's get a little bit more microcosmic. So there we really see that big push up and that quick descend down to make that tail. So even though I'm looking at weekly pivot points and I'm looking at the daily charts, I'm really going to make my trades more off the 4-hour and 1-hour because I just don't have the patience, to be perfectly honest. So here's my trend lines. See this trend channel here, going up since, so it looks like September. So let's go ahead and make these trend lines a little bit thicker. And you just want to remember that trend lines are very subjective, right? So people can look at trend lines in a lot of different ways. But what you want to do is make sure your angles are very broad, right? A very steep trend line isn't going to last for very long. So you want to look for these bigger, broader channels. And we look for lots of times when price action touch that line, either above it or below it. And we see this line here, it's been kind of touched a lot of times. But it's not exact, you know, there's a little bit of it's almost like scribbling here. Price will test it and then come back down. See here it kind of bounced around, shot back above, touched it again. So price could actually come back down all the way here to this 144 area before continuing up, though the case looks pretty strong for continuing up. Let's go ahead and put some moving averages on pound yen. And I'm going to use 20 as my fast and put in blue. And then I'm going to put my 50 in red. Okay. And I'm also going to use a 200. Okay. So my 20, my 50, my 200. What I'm looking for is price, moving above the moving averages, and I really want to see stacked 20 on top of 50 on top of 200, and that's exactly what's happening. So a lot of times, though, price will pull all the way back to the 200 or between this 20 and 50 bands. So really, kind of waiting for something like that to happen. I think price might pull back a little bit more. So what I'll probably look to do is wait for it to consolidate to these moving averages. So we see these are that's support lines and resistance we drew earlier. There's that zone, right? So let's clone this again. Oops, didn't work. Try this again. Okay, and then let's make a third line. See how these tails tip here, right? It's a resistance point. Notice how these bands are are very equidistant, right? They're very equal. So this will be possibly a place where price will fall into this little pocket here to make it for a good buying opportunity. However, there's also, if we go ahead and clone that trend line, we really want to look at these parallel trend channels because this could also happen. Price could actually just sit right on top of here and take off again. If there's a lot of buying going on, it may not dip back down into here. So that's one thing to consider. So let's go ahead and look at our pivot points. I'm using Forex.com pivot points. Looking at my weekly. So my pivot's 145.42. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Oh, this one's pretty close. Let's scrub it down. 145.42. So price will more than likely visit the pivot. It's kind of sitting on top of it. Then let's go ahead and label that pivot 45.42. Okay, so then weekly R1 148.35. So let's go ahead and make another line. Clone. We're going to bring that all the way up here. That's our weekly R1. So what that means is that there's a good chance by the pivot point strategy that price could reach this point at some point this week. It could also go in the other direction, and visit support. So these are just kind of mapping out the different potential destinations. 48.35. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this right here. So that's my weekly R1. Let's see what my weekly support one is. 142.88. So that means so here's the line, our midline, 142.88. It's kind of down here. So let's go ahead and adjust this. And these play pretty close to the lines we drew just based on price action. But because those lines can be, like a lot of not exact, I really want to use the mathematical pivot point to give me my strategy, 142.88. So let's go ahead and pop that on there. S1. That's right here. Ish, right? But okay, so if we notice, so I'm going to go ahead and take this line out and notice our pivot, our S1, weekly R1 are fairly equidistant, just like we saw. So we were just a little bit off. So these are places that travel, price will most likely travel this week. What could happen is it could just kind of wane around this pivot point for, well, it could do it for quite a while. This is the 4-hour chart, so it could potentially just sit here, kind of bob and weave back and forth through the end of the month, end of 2019. This recording is happening December 15th of 2019. So we could see price kind of hang out here, maybe dip down, but then you'd probably see a quick buyback if price were to dip down to this 50 average. You'd see a lot of buyers come in for that price, try to push it back above this trend channel, looking for a long-term breakout of this 148.35. So could be a while. We'll see what happens if this price holds above this pivot point this week. All right, so make sure you check out the other videos. This has been Pound Yen. Also, make sure you check out our website, practicalfxtrading.com. I'm Ryan B. Take it easy.